Hi everyone. I'm Helen from Susan's family. Today I'd like to introduce to you the Starrock cardigan from Retro Nostalgia series. For this electronic tutorial, you can check it on the website by searching for soso姐.com. The cardigan consists of the body, waist motifs, and the hem. It's made by connecting the sleeves, front band and buttons. First, separately complete the crocheting of the body, waist motifs, and the hem. After completion, connect these sections. Then crochet the sleeves and attach them. Finally, pick up stitches in the corresponding areas to crochet the front band and attach the buttons. There are multiple sizes for this garment. The making method is identical. The only difference between sizes is the number of stitches and rows in certain areas. Below, I will demonstrate and explain using the smallest size as an example. For other sizes, any differences will be explained separately. Let's start crocheting the body. This section is divided into the shoulder parts and the body. The shoulder parts are further divided into the front shoulder part and the back shoulder part. Both are worked separately by beginning with a chain stitch for the shoulder parts. After completing them, connect the shoulder parts and continue crocheting the body. Once everything is completed, sew together the starting points of the front and back shoulder parts. First, crochet the two front shoulder parts. Let's start with the left front shoulder part. The left and right here. Refer to the actual left and right when wearing it. Begin with a chain stitch. Then crochet back and forth along the starting chain. The stitch techniques used include chain stitches, single crochets, half double crochets, and double crochets, DC2-in-1 and DC2 tog. Please watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. For convenience in watching, I'll use cotton yarn for this demonstration, and the colors are random. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. First, start with a chain stitch. The exact number of chains can be referenced from the chart. After completing, start crocheting the first row. First, make one chain as your beginning chain, then pick up the stitch. At this point, count the second chain position from right to left. Note that the loop on the hook is not included. Pick up the braid of the chain stitch, the top strand of yarn. Crochet one single crochet. Continue afterward, picking up the top strand of each chain braid respectively. Work one single crochet into each stitch. Finish with the last single crochet. The first row is now completed. Move on to the second row. Start with one chain as your beginning chain. Turn over. Pick up stitches downward and work 3 single crochets correspondingly. Pay attention when crocheting on the wrong side. The stitch is located at the top left. After completing, crochet 2 chain stitches as an interval. Then skip 2 single crochets. Pick up the next stitch position and work 1 double crochet. Two chains. Work another double crochet in the same position. Then crochet 2 chain stitches as an interval. Below, skip 2 single crochets. Pick up the next 3 stitch positions. Work single crochets correspondingly into each stitch. After completing, continue following the chart for crocheting. Work 1 double crochet in the last stitch position. 1 chain and 1 double crochet. This completes the second row. Continue with the third row. Start with 3 beginning chains. These 3 count as 1 double crochet. Turn over. Then pick up the whole of 1 chain stitch on the left side. Crochet 3 double crochets. Followed by 2 chain stitches as an interval. Pick the centered position of the next 3 single crochets below. Work 1 single crochet, 2 chains as an interval. Pick the chain space between double crochets below. Crochet 7 double crochets in 1 hole. Continue following the chart for the rest. Complete the last single crochet. The third row is done. Move on to the fourth row. Start with 3 beginning chains. Turn over. Pick up the position of the second single crochet on the left side below. Work 1 double crochet. Mind that the edge single crochet matches up with the beginning stitch. Make sure not to pick the wrong position. After completing, chain 1 as an interval. Pick the adjacent double crochet stitch position below. Work 1 double crochet. Work 1/2 double crochet. Work 3 single crochets. Work 1/2 double crochet. Work 1 double crochet. After completing, chain 2 as an interval. Continue to follow the chart for crocheting. At the edge, where there is a double crochet beginning stitch, here, pick up the third chain stitch. Insert the hook into the edges of the 2 yarns. This part is single crochet. After finishing, the 4th row will be completed. For the upcoming 5th to 12th rows, the stitch techniques used have all been demonstrated before. Just refer to the pattern to crochet these rows. Pay attention, when you encounter a double crochet beginning stitch while crocheting, always pick up 2 strands of yarn, at the position of the 3rd stitch. After completing, start crocheting row 13. Begin with 3 chain stitches as the starting chain. Turn over. Then pick up the stitch from the edge. Crochet a DC 2 in 1, that is, work 2 double crochets in one position. After completing, continue to follow the pattern for crocheting. Continue crocheting all the way to the end of row 14. After completion, start crocheting row 15. For this row, you need to join a new yarn, and begin with a starting chain. Take the previous yarn, and work 1 chain stitch to secure it. Then leave a little yarn tail, cut off the yarn. Tighten the knot. Then start with 9 chain stitches. Next, position the wrong side of the previous row facing towards you. Pick up the last stitch position going down. That is, the edge stitch. Work 1 single crochet. Continue crocheting by referring to the pattern chart. After finishing the edge single crochet, row 15 is completed. Continue crocheting row 16 while following the chart. This single crochet position on the edge of the row, crochet straight up to the single crochet position on the edge of the previous row. Once you reach the corresponding position, skip the edge single crochet going down. You need to crochet into the chain stitch position, where you pick up the stitch. First, skip 2 chains to the left. Pick up the braid of the next chain. The top strand of yarn. Work 1 double crochet correspondingly. 1/2 double crochet. 5 single crochets. By now, row 16 is completed. Crochet row 17 below. Start by rejoining the yarn and making a starting chain. Use the same method. First, fasten off the yarn with the tail left from the end of the previous row. Then, cast on the corresponding number of chain stitches. After completing, move to the wrong side of the row above. Begin from the first edge stitch. Refer to the pattern to crochet. Continue until the end of row 18. Pick up the top strand of the corresponding chain stitch. Insert the hook and crochet accordingly. For rows 19 through 22, simply crochet back and forth along the previous row. No new stitch techniques or methods are used here. Refer to the chart to complete these rows. After finishing, move on to row 23. At the end of this row, you'll need to work a DC2 tog. First, follow the pattern chart until just before the last stitch position. I have now reached the corresponding position. Pick up the strand from the double crochet stitch below, and the third chain position of the beginning chain. Work a DC2 tog. First, pick up the stitch and work an incomplete double crochet. Yarn over, insert the hook, and draw through. Then yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. That's an incomplete double crochet. Continue by picking up the stitch at the beginning chain position, and work another incomplete double crochet. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops in one go, completing the DC2 tog. This completes row 23. For rows 24 to 26, refer to the chart for crocheting. There's no need to fasten off the yarn after finishing here. Set it aside for now, and that concludes the crocheting of the left shoulder part. Next, we'll cover the right shoulder part. The method is similar to that of the left shoulder part. The first 14 rows don't involve any new stitches or techniques. At row 15, crochet the corresponding number of chain stitches at the end. At the start of row 16, begin with chain stitches as well. Then go back and pick up the corresponding chain stitch positions. Insert the hook and work the corresponding stitches. Rows 17 through 18 follow a similar method to the previous ones. There are no new situations for the remaining rows 19 to 26. Simply crochet back and forth in the corresponding stitches. After finishing, fasten off the yarn. Next, everyone refer to the chart. Crochet the right shoulder part until completion. After completing, set it aside for now. Below, I will explain the back shoulder part. Here it is divided into 2 sections. Start by crocheting section 1, then connect the 2 sections and continue crocheting section 2. There are 2 section 1s here. The method is similar to the first 2 rows of the front shoulder part. Everyone refer to the pattern chart. Finish crocheting it. Pay attention. After completing one section 1, you need to break the yarn. For the other one, there's no need to break the yarn. Specifically, everyone refer to the chart. The charts are all labeled accordingly. After completion, crochet section 2. Here, continue from the fabric piece of section 1 that didn't have the yarn broken. Then, refer to the chart and complete this section 1 area. After finishing, crochet the corresponding number of chain stitches. Then pick up the section 1, where the yarn was broken. Place the wrong side of the second row facing you. Then insert the hook from the edge position. Follow the chart for crocheting. Crochet all the way to the last stitch at the edge. After completing this, the first row of section 2 is now finished. The 2 section 1 parts are now connected like this. For the remaining part of section 2, no new stitch techniques or methods are used. Refer to the chart everyone, and finish the rest of the crocheting. After completion, you need to fasten off the yarn. Here, all the yarn tails can be woven into the wrong side of the fabric. The neater side of the stitch texture, in the first row is the right side. You can weave in the ends a few more times for security. All the tails can be hidden on the wrong side using this method. At this point, the back shoulder section explanation is complete. Next, we will explain the body part. For the first row, follow the same joining method used for connecting the two section 1 parts of the back collar and shoulders. Crochet and join the 3 shoulder edges together. When joining, pay attention to the right and wrong sides of the fabric pieces. Align the last row of all the collar and shoulder sections facing forward. Then crochet back and forth evenly without increasing or decreasing. No new stitches or techniques are used here. Refer to the chart for guidance. Crochet the body section until it is completed. After finishing, fasten off the yarn and weave in the ends. At this point, the explanation of the body section is complete. Next, sew together the starting points of the front and back collar and shoulders. Use the whip stitch method for sewing here. You can pick up the other 2 strands from the chain stitches. Insert the hook into the entry position for the single crochet. Sew them together correspondingly. You can also pick up the gap between single crochets to sew them together. Below, I will provide a whip stitch sewing method for your reference. You can learn it first, then apply it according to the actual situation later. Please watch the demonstration. Here, I'm demonstrating with a small swatch. Position the pieces correctly after aligning them. Then take a piece of sewing yarn. The length of the yarn is usually about 3 times the length of the sewing area. You can leave it a bit longer if needed. Thread the needle with the yarn. Then insert the needle from the edge. Here, at the chain stitch position, pick up the 2 strands of yarn on the edge. Start by leaving a little yarn tail. For security, sew through the same position one more time. Continue sewing in the same direction afterward. The insertion position is almost on the edge. Adjust specifically according to the actual project in your hands. As long as it's sewn flat and looks nice, that's fine. While sewing, place the tail left at the beginning on top. Hide it as you sew. Sew the edge stitch one more time. This is the whip stitch sewing method. Finally, weave in the ends. At this point, the explanation of sewing the shoulder parts is complete. Up to this point, the entire top's construction has now been explained. Next, we will make the waist motifs. First, crochet the corresponding number of motifs. Then connect the motifs together. Here, the motif starts with the chain ring method, then pick up the stitch and work inward. After completing it, pick up the stitch again, and crochet along the outer ring. We use a new stitch technique here, slip stitch. Please watch me demonstrate. First, cast on the corresponding number of chain stitches. I've already completed the starting chain here. Then, face the braid side of the chains outward. Fold it neatly in half. Pay attention to not twisting the chains. Locate the position of the first chain stitch. Pick up one strand on the top of the chain. Work one slip stitch. After completing it, tighten the slip stitch. At this point, the chain ring method is complete. Check again that the chain braid is facing outward. Ensure the chain braid side is on the outside. Then move on to crochet the first round. Start with 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Next, from the second braid on the left side, pick up one strand above the chain braid. Crochet 2 double crochets in each corresponding stitch. Remember to hide the starting yarn tail while working. Then work 1 double crochet. After that, crochet 10 chain stitches. Pick the same insertion point for the double crochet. Work 1 double crochet. After completing, continue to crochet 5 double crochets in each corresponding stitch. Upon completion, move down, then crochet 5 more double crochets in each corresponding stitch below. Next, you will need to crochet a DC2 tog. Here, pick the adjacent chain stitch, and the position of the 4th chain stitch from the left. Proceed with crocheting. Note that 3 chain stitches were skipped in between. After finishing, continue with 5 more double crochets. Then crochet 1 double crochet. 10 chain stitches. One double crochet. Moving forward, continue to follow the chart for crocheting. After finishing the last stitch position, please check the stitch count. Finally, slip stitch into the third stitch of the beginning chain. Pull tight. For the next round, you will need to change colors. Proceed with fastening off the yarn. You can hide the yarn tail while crocheting in the next section. Now, the first round is complete. Continue with the second round. At the position of the previous round's beginning chain, where you previously inserted the slip stitch, insert the hook to join the new yarn. Then make 3 chain stitches as the beginning chain. From here, starting from the left double crochet, pick up each stitch and crochet 3 double crochets correspondingly. Next, crochet 10 chain stitches. Skip the adjacent chain stitch position without crocheting. Also skip the left double crochet position without crocheting. Pick up the corresponding stitch below. Crochet 4 double crochets evenly into the corresponding stitches. Then pick up the first and third stitch positions on the left side. These are the 2 stitch positions to the left and right of the previous decrease. Work a DC2 tog. Continue crocheting by referring to the chart below. Finish with the last stitch. Pay attention and check the stitch count. Then slip stitch into the third chain of the beginning chain. Pull tight. For the next round, you need to change colors. Break the yarn. The second round is complete. For the following rounds 3 to 5, no new stitches or techniques are used. Refer to the chart. Crochet these rounds until completed. Note that you should change colors for each round. When switching colors, always do it at the beginning chain position of the previous round. Pick up the hole from the slip stitch insertion point to join the yarn. Skip the slip knot position in every round and don't crochet it. After completing all rounds, slip stitch into the third chain of the beginning chain and pull tight. Once done, tidy up the chain positions below. Twist the first rose chain to the left into an H-shaped form. Then bring the second rose chain through from inside, and twist it to the left into an H-shaped form as well. Also twist this one into an H-shaped form to the left. Continue threading the chains in sequence afterward. And twist it into an H-shaped form. After twisting all the chains in this column, handle the remaining chain positions using the same method. In the end, only one loop will remain. Cut a piece of yarn, in the color of round 5 below. Thread it into a sewing needle. Then take the remaining chains from the final round, and thread them through the sewing needle one by one. Pay attention to forming an 8-shaped pattern even in the last round. Make sure the final round also forms an 8-shaped pattern. After threading through one round, thread it again. Pull tight the yarn tail. Tie a knot with the beginning and ending tails. Thread the tail to the wrong side. Then weave it down into the fabric to hide the yarn tail. You can hide a few more stitches if needed. Do the same for the other yarn tail, weaving it into the fabric as well. This completes the circles on the inner side. Continue crocheting downward for the 6th round. Work along the outer ring. Pick up the stitch on this side. In the first round, decrease arbitrarily on the left side. Insert the hook into the gaps between stitches to join the yarn. Then make 3 beginning chains. For all the following stitches, insert the hook into the gaps between stitches. Correspondingly work a double crochet. When you encounter a decrease position, pick up the large chain space. Crochet 2 double crochets. 2 chains and 2 double crochets. Moving forward, please continue to refer to the chart for crocheting. Finally, join with a slip stitch on the beginning chain. Tighten. Cut the yarn. At this point, the 6th round is completed. For the 7th round, simply follow the chart for crocheting. That concludes the tutorial for crocheting one motif. You can refer to the chart and compare the dimensions. If there's a significant difference, it's recommended to adjust your tension, or switch to a different hook size and crochet again. Next, everyone please follow the same method to complete crocheting the remaining motifs. After completing the motifs, proceed with connecting the motifs. Here you need to crochet reverse single crochets to avoid puckering. Pick up 2 motifs. I'll use this sample to demonstrate. Fold the motifs with their wrong sides together. Then use the color from the last round of the motif. For convenience in watching, I'll demonstrate using a different color. On the left side of the edge you want to connect. Find the double crochet stitch that is centered in the chain space. Join the yarn there. Then make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Next, pick up 2 stitches from both motifs and move to the right. Go through both motif stitch positions at the same time. And work 1 slip stitch. Pick up the top strand of the beginning chain below. Insert your hook and make 1 single crochet. Now you've completed 1 puffed reverse single crochet. Continue by picking up the stitch on the right side. Pay attention, all following stitches should pick up loops from both motifs simultaneously. Work 1 slip stitch. Next, on the left stitch, pick up the 2 angled strands above. Insert the hook and work 1 single crochet. Continue in the same manner. Pick up the stitch on the right side, and work 1 slip stitch. Then pick up the 2 angled strands on the left above. Work 1 single crochet. Here, only the first stitch involves picking up 1 strand to make a single crochet. The rest involve picking up the 2 angled strands on the left to make single crochets. Repeat this process. Crochet while joining as you go. While crocheting, when you reach the beginning chain position, simply insert the hook into the hole from the previous slip stitch. Continue crocheting downward. When you reach the spot for 3 double crochets in another chain space, connect it to the centered double crochet stitch below. Finish with the last stitch, then fasten off the yarn. Hide the yarn tails on the wrong side of the fabric. This way, one side of the 2 motifs is connected. Everyone can follow the same method. Connect the remaining motifs to complete them. Once completed, set them aside for now. That concludes the explanation of the waist motifs. Next, we'll discuss the hem. Start with a foundation chain, then work back and forth in rows. After completing, fasten off and weave in the ends. Here, a new stitch technique is used. CH3 picket. Let's explain this new stitch technique separately below. You can all learn this first. Then refer to the pattern while crocheting. Please watch the demonstration. Below, I will demonstrate CH3 picket. This is the crochet method used when crocheting on a single crochet stitch. After completing the corresponding single crochet, crochet 3 chain stitches. Then insert the hook into the front loop of the single crochet stitch. And underneath the left hand thread below. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through all 3 loops on the hook. CH3 picket is now complete. That concludes the explanation of crocheting the hem. Next, we will move on to joining the pieces. Here, you need to join the top, the waist motif, and the hem separately. The joining method is the same as for joining motifs. It involves crocheting reverse single crochets that prevent puckering. Let me first explain how to join the top and the waist motif. Match up the 2 sections. You can use stitch markers at the edge positions, or secure them with safety pins or paper clips. You could also use yarn to secure them. Once done, fold the fabric in half. Locate the center point and secure it. Then, roughly evenly space a few points between the edge and the center point, and secure them as well. This makes joining more convenient. After completing this step, position one side of the top toward yourself. And place the motif behind it. Then start joining the yarn on the left edge. Here, you'll be picking up stitches and working into chain spaces along the top edge. You can also insert your hook under 2 strands of a chain position. Pick up stitches from the motif in corresponding positions. If you encounter a previous joining point of the motif, and there's a larger gap after connecting, you can work under 2 strands at the joining position. Crochet 1 single crochet to connect, which prevents puckering. As long as there are no noticeable holes after connecting, it's fine. The exact number of stitches and positions for connecting here are not fixed, as long as both sides of the fabric piece are connected and remain flat, without any wrinkles, it's okay. The methods have all been demonstrated before. Everyone can now complete this part. After completion, connect the waist motif to the hem. Similarly, crochet with the reverse single crochet stitch to prevent puckering. Work and join along the sides simultaneously. First, secure both ends of the edges. Fix it in the center. Then find a few roughly even points, and secure them respectively. The hem piece is slightly longer than the motif here. When connecting, still pick up stitches on the motif. On the side of the hem where stitches are picked up, simply insert the needle into roughly corresponding positions of the 2 pieces. When connecting, place the hem fabric facing you, with the motif facing backward. Everyone can now complete this step. That concludes the explanation for the connection part. Next, we will make the sleeves. They consist of the sleeve body and the cuff motif. Crochet them separately. After completion, connect the two sides of the sleeve body. Connect between the motifs. Finally, connect the motif to the sleeve body. Let's start with the sleeve body explanation. Begin with a chain stitch. Then crochet back and forth along the starting chain. While crocheting, some parts require restarting with a new chain. Here we use a new stitch technique, the treble crochet. I'll demonstrate the crocheting method for this new stitch technique next. You can all learn it first, then refer to the pattern while crocheting. Please watch the demonstration. Treble crochet. Wrap the yarn around the hook twice. Insert into the left stitch. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. There are 4 loops on the hook now. Yarn over, draw through the first 2 loops. There are 3 loops left on the hook. Yarn over, draw through the first 2 loops. There are 2 loops left on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 loops. 1 treble crochet is now complete. This is the crocheting method for treble crochet. That concludes the explanation of crocheting the sleeve body. Next, we will move on to connecting it. Here you need to connect both straight sides of the sleeve body. Specifically, this straight area needs to be joined together. On the wrong side of the piece. Fold the fabric in half. Then pick up either one edge stitch, or 2 strands for insertion. Alternate crocheting 1 single crochet and 1 chain stitch to connect. There is no strict requirement for the insertion position here. Just make sure the piece stays flat after connecting. Below, I will provide a method for connecting fabric pieces using single crochets and chain stitches. Pay attention, the video mainly demonstrates the method. In practice, between each 2 single crochets, crochet 1 chain stitch. Everyone can start learning this technique first. Please watch the demonstration. Taking the right front piece as an example. Note, the left and right front refer to the actual left and right when wearing. Place the right front piece against the back piece, with the right sides facing each other. The wrong sides should be on the outside. You can start the joining from either side. Overlap and align the shoulders. This swatch is the back piece. This one is the right front piece. We will start from this edge and continue joining until this double crochet position. On the back piece, it's this double crochet position. Insert the hook under a few strands of yarn from the edges of both fabric pieces. Join the yarn. Work 1 chain. Work 1 single crochet at the joining point. Then work 2 3 chain stitches. I will work 3 chain stitches here. Leave a small interval. Insert the hook under a few strands of yarn from the edge of the fabric piece. Continue with one single crochet. This interval is roughly the same as the length of the chains. Make sure the fabric piece doesn't shrink after completing it. And carry the yarn across when needed. Weave the carried yarn into the stitches. The joining process is to alternate one single crochet, 2-3 chain stitches. Continue until this edge is fully joined. After completion, break the yarn. That concludes the explanation for connecting the sleeve body. Next, I will explain the motif for the sleeve cuff. The crocheting method here is similar to the motifs on the waist section, only the number of stitches and rounds are slightly different. Here, we also use the chain ring method to start. Then, start by picking up stitches and crocheting a few rounds on the inner side. After completing, twist the chain stitch position into an 8 shape. Finally, close the chain loop. Then pick up stitches from the other side and crochet around the outer edge. Once the motif is completed, connect it. Similarly, work the reverse single crochet to join as you go, preventing puckering. Finally, connect it to the last row of the sleeve piece. Use the reverse single crochet again for the connection. When connecting, face one side of the sleeve piece toward yourself. Pick up the stitch positions and chain spaces respectively. Match the stitch positions of the motif. Correspondingly crochet and join. After completion, move downward to the edge of the sleeve motif. Crochet one round of reverse single crochets to prevent puckering. Insert the hook into the edge stitches, and crochet as you go. Pick up 2 strands from the edge for joining. All these stitch techniques have been demonstrated before. Everyone can now complete it. Once everything is finished, take the unconnected side of the sleeve body. Join the sleeve opening to the corresponding position on the body of the sweater. First, align the connection point of the sleeve. Match it with the middle position under the arm of the garment. Secure it in place. Then align the center position at the top of the sleeve. Match it with the seam position on the shoulder of the garment. Roughly mark a few points on both sides and secure them. To make the connection tighter, you need to join using slip stitches and chain stitches. There are no strict requirements for where to insert the hook. You can pick up the edge spaces, or just 2 strands of yarn. As long as the connection is complete, and the fabric stays flat, that's fine. Below, I'll demonstrate a few stitches of the connecting method using a small sample. The small sample fabric is not for reference. First, join the yarn at the corresponding position. Here, everyone in practice can join the yarn at the centered position under the arm. Then make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Next, pick up roughly 2 positions on the fabric pieces. Work 1 slip stitch. Then work 1 chain stitch. Continue picking up approximate positions afterward. Work 1 slip stitch. 1 chain stitch. Proceed according to this pattern from now on. Crochet and join simultaneously. After finishing the connection, pick up the 2 strands of the chain stitch at the beginning chain position and slip stitch. Once done, fasten off the yarn by weaving in the ends. After completion, cut and hide the yarn tail. At this point, the explanation for making the sleeve is entirely finished. Finally, crochet the front band. It is divided into 2 parts. First, work back and forth along the front band for the first part. After completing it, crochet the second part, along the first part and the bottom edge. Let's start with the first part. Join the yarn at the corner edge of the right side of the front band. Then pick up stitches along the hem side edge, the motif edge, and the side of the sweater. Crochet the corresponding number of single crochets. You can refer to the chart for the number of stitches here. The insertion position can be the edge hole, or simply 2 strands of yarn. The stitch count can also be adjusted according to the actual situation. As long as the front band is flat after crocheting, it's fine. After completing this part, switch colors. Follow the single crochet area, and work back and forth for a few rows of half double crochets. While crocheting, pay attention to leaving space for the buttonholes. For the buttonhole, crochet chain stitches at the top, and skip a few half double crochets at the bottom. For the half double crochets here, always start with 2 chain stitches as a beginning chain. Then start from the second position, and work downward while crocheting. On the last stitch, when you encounter the turning chain position, simply insert the hook under the 2 strands of the second chain stitch. Everyone can now complete this part. After finishing the first section, move on to crochet the second section. Here, you will crochet reverse single crochets that prevent puckering. At the same time, when you encounter the hem's chain space, you need to insert the hook into the position below the single crochet. This will eventually create the texture you see here. After everything is completed, pick up the starting position of the reverse single crochet, pull through any 2 strands at the back with a slip stitch, then break the yarn and weave in the ends. All the stitch techniques used here have been demonstrated before. Please refer to the chart. Complete crocheting the front band. Finally, on the opposite side of the front band that corresponds to the buttonholes, sew on the buttons. Everyone can now finish this project. Up to this point, the entire process of making this garment has been fully explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family. Supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.